I've kept a secret for years, something I never thought I'd have to face. It's a part of my past that, if anyone knew, would shatter everything I've worked so hard for. I've tried to forget it, but the truth always catches up. Before Edward, before everything seemed perfect, I made a choice. A choice that still haunts me. No one could ever guess what happened, and it's something I can never take back. But today, I'm telling you. The truth is coming out, and I can't hide anymore. What happens when your deepest mistake threatens to ruin your future? Can you ever truly escape the things you wish you could forget? Stick with me, and I'll show you how everything began. The question is, can I ever fix what I broke? I grew up in Paris, an only child in a wealthy family. Life was a picture of elegance and comfort, sprawling estates, private schools, and every opportunity laid out before me. My parents adored me, always supportive and loving, ensuring I never wanted for anything. On the surface, I had it all. Love, security, a beautiful home filled with laughter and warmth. But even with all of that, there was a quiet void that never seemed to leave me. A feeling that something was missing, something I couldn't quite put into words. It wasn't until I left home and stepped into the world on my own that the emptiness started to grow. I excelled in school, graduated with honors, and landed a dream job at a prestigious firm. To outsiders, I looked like I was living a life anyone would envy. But the long hours, the late nights in the office, and the constant pressure to succeed came at a cost. The friendships I tried to build never went deeper than small talk, and the loneliness only seemed to deepen. Desperate to fill that void, I adopted a dog shortly after university, a beautiful, loyal creature who quickly became my whole world. I named him Max, and from the moment I brought him home, he was by my side. He was there through every high and every low, a constant source of comfort. On nights when the silence of my empty apartment became too loud, Max was the only one who made it feel a little less lonely. He was more than a pet, he was my companion, my confidant, the one being who seemed to understand me without words. But even with Max's companionship, the ache for something deeper never really went away. I longed for a connection, for someone who truly understood me, who could break through the walls I had unknowingly built around myself. My career kept me busy, surrounded by colleagues and endless meetings, yet I felt more isolated than ever. I could be in a room full of people, and still, a sense of emptiness would settle over me, gnawing at me when no one was looking. Max was my escape, my refuge. Every evening, he'd be there waiting for me with a wagging tail and eyes full of unconditional love. As the days turned into months, our bond grew stronger. He was my anchor, the one who was always there, never judging, never leaving, even when the weight of my loneliness felt suffocating. It was like he could sense every emotion, every tear I fought to hold back. And I clung to him, to the comfort he brought, trying to convince myself that it was enough. But as time passed, something started to change. The more I leaned on Max for support, the more the lines blurred. The loneliness I carried began to twist in ways I never anticipated. The bond we shared became complicated, fueled by my desperation for connection. What I once thought was simple affection began to feel like something I couldn't understand, something that left me confused and ashamed. I was desperate to feel close to someone, to fill the aching void inside me, and my mind, my lonely, exhausted mind, began to play tricks on me. Looking back, it feels surreal, almost impossible, how things shifted so subtly yet so profoundly. The isolation, the long hours, the endless nights spent longing for something more had taken a toll. And now, here I am, about to reveal the choice I made, the one mistake that would come to haunt me, a decision that I can never take back. I never thought it would go this far. The line between affection and something darker blurred in a way I couldn't control. At first, it was just moments of comfort, little moments that made me feel less alone. It was innocent, or so I tried to convince myself. I'd sit there, feeling the warmth of companionship, holding on to the idea that maybe this closeness could fill the emptiness inside me. But then, it became something I couldn't stop. It crossed into a territory I never imagined I'd find myself in. But as time went on, the moments grew longer, more frequent. Then I taught him how to do it. We started to do it when I am home, after a long stressful day, when I wanted to satisfy my cravings. It was like a hidden world I created, one that belonged to only us. A secret that I knew should never be revealed. I knew it was wrong, but the loneliness had clouded my judgment. It felt like an escape, a way to fill the emptiness inside. But each time it happened, I felt more and more disgusted with myself. I didn't know how to stop. I thought that maybe, just maybe, if I kept doing it, I could forget the pain of being alone. Night after night, I'd lie awake, battling the endless cycle of guilt. The crushing realization of what I had done would hit me, washing over me like a wave that I couldn't escape. I knew, deep down, that this wasn't right. That the connection I had convinced myself was harmless was anything but. But the loneliness, that craving for affection that I couldn't seem to shake, it was too powerful, too consuming. The need to feel understood, to feel anything at all, became an uncontrollable force. It was a dangerous cycle. Each time it happened, the shame only grew. Each time, I promised myself it would be the last, that I would never let it go that far again. But that promise was a lie. The guilt would claw at me, sinking its teeth deeper every time, but I was trapped, unable to break free from the isolation that had taken hold of me. I couldn't tell anyone. The thought of confessing, even to someone I trusted, filled me with dread. What would they think of me? Would they see me as broken, as someone unredeemable? I was too ashamed, too scared of the judgment I was certain would come. So, I kept it all inside, hiding behind a smile when I was around others, pretending everything was fine. But when I was alone, the weight of it all would come crashing down, leaving me sobbing quietly in the dark, wishing I could escape the secret that had become my prison. And then, one day, I met Edward. It was at a friend's gathering, one of those events I had almost skipped because I was so tired of pretending to be happy around people. But something compelled me to go that night, and that's when I saw him. He was standing off to the side, laughing easily with a group of mutual friends. His laugh was genuine, his smile disarming, and when our eyes met, there was a spark, a moment of connection that caught me completely off guard. We started talking, and it was like I had known him forever. He was different from everyone else I had met. There was a sincerity in his eyes, a kindness that put me at ease. As we exchanged stories, I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't done in years, sharing little pieces of myself I usually kept hidden. Edward had a way of listening that made me feel seen, like every word I said mattered. For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, I felt a connection that went beyond the superficial, a connection that felt real. Our relationship blossomed quickly. We began spending more and more time together, exploring the city, going on long walks, and having deep conversations about life and everything in between. With Edward, everything felt effortless. The happiness he brought into my life was overwhelming, and I found myself falling in love faster than I thought possible. He had a way of making even the mundane feel magical, and soon, I couldn't imagine my days without him. Eventually, Edward proposed. It was a beautiful moment I will never forget, an intimate dinner at our favorite spot in Paris, under the soft glow of fairy lights. He got down on one knee, and with a smile full of love and a voice trembling with emotion, he asked me to be his forever. I said yes through tears of joy, feeling like I was stepping into a life I had always dreamed of but never thought I deserved. We planned a beautiful wedding surrounded by friends and family, a celebration of the love that had transformed my world. As I stood at the altar, looking into Edward's eyes, I felt the happiest I had ever been. Everything was perfect, and as we exchanged vows, I whispered silent promises to myself that I would do everything I could to protect this life we were building together. But even as I said I do, even as I stepped into this new chapter, the secret from my past lingered in the shadows, reminding me that happiness built on hidden truths could be dangerously fragile. I kept convincing myself that I could bury it forever. That if I just loved Edward fiercely enough, devoted myself entirely to our life together, maybe the past would fade away. But as I spent more time with him, as I grew to love him deeper with each passing day, the guilt and shame only grew stronger. How could I expect him to love me unconditionally if he knew the truth? If he knew what I'd done, the person I'd allowed myself to become in the darkest moments of my life? Every day was a battle with myself, wondering if I should tell him. The thought of coming clean haunted me, but so did the fear of losing him. I was terrified, petrified that revealing my secret would destroy everything we had built together, that it would shatter the beautiful life we were creating and leave me alone once more, this time with no one to blame but myself. The closer we became, the harder it was to keep this secret locked away. It was like a ticking time bomb in my chest, a relentless pulse that never let me feel completely at peace. The guilt seeped into even the happiest moments, simple things like a shared laugh or a quiet evening together. I'd wonder if this moment would be my last before everything came crashing down. I lived in constant fear, knowing that I hadn't told him everything, that the love we shared was built on a foundation with a painful, hidden crack. I realized something: I couldn't keep running from my past. If I truly wanted to be with Edward, if I wanted our love to be real and unbreakable, I had to confront what I had done. I couldn't hide anymore. I couldn't let my mistakes keep poisoning the happiness we had built together. But facing the past meant risking everything: our relationship, my dreams of a future together, and even my own sense of who I was. The choice was agonizing. Do I keep this secret, burying it so deep that it never sees the light of day? Do I continue pretending, hoping that maybe, just maybe, the truth would stay hidden forever? Or do I come clean, risking everything for a chance at redemption, a chance at finally being free from the weight that had been crushing me for so long? The decision loomed over me like a dark cloud. Each day, the pressure grew, and I felt trapped in an impossible dilemma. My love for Edward was undeniable, but so was the terror of losing him. What if he couldn't forgive me? What if this was the end of everything we had worked so hard to build? I still haven't made up my mind. The weight of that decision is almost unbearable, and the fear of choosing wrong haunts me. So here I am, standing at a crossroads, wondering if I'm strong enough to do the right thing, and if the truth could ever set me free. I'll tell you this: the truth always has a way of coming out. Whether I gather the courage to tell Edward myself or life forces it into the open, my past is still part of me. Sooner or later, I'll have to face it, one way or another. But for now, the choice is still mine to make, and the uncertainty of what will happen next lingers. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you confess your past to the person you love, risking everything for honesty? Or would you keep it buried, hoping that the secret stays hidden forever, no matter the cost? If you've ever found yourself standing at a crossroads like this, where the past threatens to shatter the future you've built, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and share your story or advice. Well, that's it for today's story. If you found it intriguing, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our next gripping tale. We have more deep dives into love, secrets, and shocking twists coming your way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.